It's about that time. What's happening in your city? Got love for your city? City Views. City Views. And good evening. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another vision of City Views. And we got some technical difficulties going on here. Oh, we're good? Okay.
Doug got a thumb up.
Yeah, if Doug gives us a thumbs up, that means everything's going to be all right.
He's the man. He's the
man.
That's right.
He's the man. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight. And we do want to apologize. Unfortunately, we had to have a cancellation for our guest this evening.
Yeah.
You know, things come up, man.
Things come up, yeah.
You know, so we got to kind of like stand in the gap for our man, let him know that everything's all right. And we're going to cruise on through the show. Some way, somehow. But you guys know the routine. And we don't want to miss the opportunity to thank our sponsor tonight, Mr. Steve Toth.
Thanks, Steve.
Toth Insurance Agency, thank you as always for helping us to bring City Views to our weekly viewing audience here at your local cable access Altice Channel 5. That's how we roll.
AM or PM?
Uh-oh. Obviously, Rebo's still in the twilight zone here. He'll be all right, though.
I'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Just give me some chicken. I'll be all right.
See, he's easy to please, you know?
Some chicken.
Bucket of chicken, he's all good.
I'm a happy man.
That's right. Now, Weibo, unfortunately, it's kind of a somber evening here on City Views because we just lost a huge pillar in the Torrington community.
Oh, yeah.
Maureen Herbert, the founder and executive director for Friendly Hands Food Bank, just passed. And we want to send our very heartfelt condolences to the staff at Friendly Hands Food
Friendly
Bank.
Hands, yeah.
Maureen's family. This touches so many people.
Oh, yeah.
In so many different ways. And I had an opportunity to speak with Maureen on several different occasions over the last few weeks. And so blessed that I had the opportunity to do so. However, it's our deepest wish that Mo's mission to feed and clothe the homeless and the hungry here in Torrington continues.
Yeah.
There are very few people, although we do have quite a few here in Torrington, that take the notion of feeding and clothing the homeless and the hungry very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I think it's probably one of Torrington's better assets, the fact that we have such a caring and compassionate community, and people who give endless hours and resources to make sure that people know where they can go to get the basic needs of life.
And the community is very supportive.
Absolutely.
The time we need. I know Mo used to call me on the phone and say, Mo, we need some scouts over there helping out. I said, okay, Mo, let's see what I can do, Mo.
Right.
She's right there.
Right.
And we used to be there for her.
Absolutely.
Support. Yeah.
Well, she was there for everyone.
Yeah,
and
she was.
When you had the opportunity to return the favor, you always, not only did you want it to do so, but Mo had the power of persuasion.
Oh yeah, she did. She did. She used to hunt me down on the phone, boy. If the phone rings, leave a message, say, call me, I need you. Oh yeah.
Mo could definitely make you see the light.
Oh yeah. So I'll be there, boy. Let's see what I can do, Mo.
And it was so heartwarming every year at WAPJ to be able to do the food and toy drive in conjunction with the Drakeville Fire Department.
Yeah.
That was such a great event to look forward to every year. And Mo had that big spirit about her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could hear her talking when you could be in the same room with her, not see her, but know she was talking.
She's talking. And the turkey drive too, boy. She get on the phone, boy. She said, I need some help. Need some help. Yeah. Be right there helping out.
So I believe the legacy that she leaves to the community is one that we will continue to advocate for, like many others who have contributed to the community and left their legacy here in Torrington. And we're really grateful for it because those are the bricks that build the community.
Yeah.
That's the glue that keeps it together. And having people like Mo and knowing people like Mo and seeing their dedication and their effort, on a regular basis, it inspires all of us to do what we can. And everybody doing a little bit means that a lot of stuff gets done.
Oh, you're done, yeah. Yeah.
So we once again want to send our condolences out, but we celebrate Mo's life.
Oh yeah, Mo, yeah.
And what she
She's
meant.
always gonna be here.
What she meant to so many people. So we would have been derelict in our duty not to recognize her and give her her props due here on City Views.
Yeah.
So,
she definitely deserved it.
Absolutely. Nonetheless, the weekend in review. I know you had a kind of a busy weekend doing your thing.
Where?
Don't be shy. Now, we had Teresa and John Sullivan on the show last week, and they were promoting their event for the Celebrity Art Out, the paint auction, and it was a huge success. Held at the Nutmeg Conservatory for the Arts this past Friday. And
did you play the music?
No, Brian Mattiello.
Oh, Brian.
Brian Mattiello did the music, and he also auctioned off the paintings.
Oh, okay.
So I think this event has legs. It's something that I think can sustain itself for the next few years as far as being an annual. Although you never know about John Sullivan because he's got a vision that he can bring so many other components to make this an even more robust event. So I think that they're on to something, and the people that were there to do it and participating, I was impressed with their level of artistry. So I'm like, it's not even anymore a situation where, like, okay, you'll go down and help out, United Way, and Owen Quinn is involved. Jeff Geddes was the chair this year for the event. Now it's actually turning to a legitimate art event because, like, oh, okay, we can actually get some real good stuff here.
Yeah.
And
a lot of competition out there.
A lot of competition.
It's fun.
Yeah. So, of course, I'm going to have to probably enroll in CAFTA's developmental painting classes, so I can, like, upgrade. I now have a much deeper appreciation for people who come out and sing karaoke. Because I mean, I was obviously during my art classes, out doing extracurricular activities because music is my release. So
yeah. But
I've always envied those artists that could do both. Joni Mitchell was one. She was both. Well, actually, she was a triple threat because she was a lyricist, a painter, and a songwriter. So she had the whole gamut going on there. So, but I think that once again, it demonstrates the fact that arts and culture can effectively bring people together and make memories and experiences that will last a lifetime. And congratulations to John and Teresa. Great event.
Good job, guys.
And I'm very glad to be a part of it and hope to continue with it. So kudos to you guys, man. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, when they was here, man, they were talking, man. I said, man, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Teresa, she's kind of, once she sinks her teeth into something, she really amps it up. So, and their tenure in the industry has put them in the circles of quite a few popular celebrities. So hopefully the situation will be ripe where they can hopefully invite one of their contacts here, and you never can tell.
Maybe one of the Giants fans, man. One of the Giants players. You never know. I'll be happy. I'll be signing your autograph.
You never can tell.
I know.
You never can tell. So, and also, Co-Park was continuing its winter concert series with Tracy Walton, trio of duos, and that seems to be coming along fashionably successful.
Well,
so
I
far.
missed that. I had to take the wife out.
Well, you are.
That's important.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. But that'll be wrapping up this Friday. And
This Friday?
Yes, Tracy's group, Belle of the Fall, will be performing for that. So I'm definitely going to try to get down there to see that.
This week's my birthday, and they got some surprises for me this weekend. This weekend.
So you're just letting the cat out of the bag. Okay. Dan, did you hear that? We both got a birthday Friday.
No, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday, but they're celebrating it Friday.
Right.
So he's trying to get a 2-for-1 deal. Yeah. I can't really blame him for that. But make sure you mark that down on the calendar. So we can pick him up some Girl Scout cookies.
Or some chicken.
Some Girl Scout cookies and some chicken.
And some chicken. My wife told me, she said, I want you to save the 24th open. I said, okay. And they was talking, right? I know stuff was planned. I'm acting like I don't know what's going on.
Right. So now you know.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, Dan. You got that down?
Yeah.
26.
Yep.
Yeah, 26.
Gotcha.
I got 2 nieces born the same day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's a rare occurrence.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Now, my cousin, we were, I think, 5 years apart, but we were born on the same day. I was born at 7:33 a.m. and she was born at 7:30 p.m.
Oh.
So, which I thought was kind of interesting. And, you find that because her and I, we have similar interests. It's kind of scary how when we talk, even after we had there was a while where I've lost contact, which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? But when we reconnected, it was like we still had those same kind of vibes, you know. So it's sometimes those things are interesting.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
You never can tell. So, but yeah, we definitely want to wish Tracy a successful close to the Winter Concert Series. This Friday coming up at in Coe Park at the Civic Center.
We used that last night.
Where was I at last night? Well, great lead-in, Weebo. I was just about to get to that.
Oh no, Jack! I don't believe that, Jack.
But before I did,
yeah.
I did want to mention the event that took place this Sunday at the Torrington Country Club.
Oh yeah.
The 2020 Wedding Expo.
Oh, okay.
Anna Marie Filippini has that every year, and something that I definitely look forward to because, you know, every now and then it's just nice to get out and talk to people.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
So they do a great job at the Torrington Country Club, and they make it look all nice and pretty for the brides and everything. And
it's nice to be too.
Definitely it is.
Yeah,
so
nice
that was part of my weekend, hanging out with the crew there. WZBG comes out and they do a little thing.
Who came out?
Jim
Jeff
Parsons
came out
in the car. No, Jim Parsons. And,
Jim Parsons?
Yeah, they come out and bring out and interview the vendors and, you know, get a little swag going.
Oh, Dell must have been busy.
So that was part of the weekend. And as you mentioned yesterday, MLK Day celebration that took place at the Noelke Gallery. And Our Culture is Beautiful founders, Effie and Angaza Mwando, put on a great show for us. And we're so very grateful to be able to be associated with Our Culture is Beautiful. And
they were playing the drums, boy.
Yeah, they
playing
had
on drums.
Had the drum circle. And then Effie and Mwando did just a fantastic adaptation of Rosie Parks. And her almost, I would say, culturally changing event that took place where she refused to give up her seat.
Yeah.
And Effie, it was very powerful.
She done a great job.
She did a great job.
Yeah, she did, Effie, yeah.
And then, Meg Capon and, Ronatron Justice, and so many great people. Conrad Sienkiewicz was in the house. But just a small demonstration of the threads that are creating the fabric of Torrington in regards to the conscientious people that just want to make a difference in the community.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing to experience and to be involved with. And one of the things that impressed me so much about yesterday's event was a young lady brought her son to the event, and there was a little round table discussion, and out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
I believe he was 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
And wanted to share with all these adults what effect Martin Luther King,
he was talking,
the doctor, had on his life.
He wasn't ashamed. He grabbed that mic, but he was talking.
Yep, like almost as if he studied some of Dr. King's speeches. So that was the highlight of the event for me, because obviously after 50 years of Dr. King's life can still inspire and motivate young people in that particular way, then the future bodes well.
Yeah.
So it's all good in the neighborhood. Man, there's so much stuff that we can continue to talk about, but the phone lines are ringing here.
Bring up the hook tonight.
Yeah, so we got to get some people on and see what the mood is. So we're going to take a. Let's see here. We'll take this call here and see what's happening with the crew. Good evening. Thank you for calling City Views.
How are you today?
So far, so good. How are you?
Good. Did you know that the sad news in Torrington, number 2 sad news, that Scarpelli's Michigan Avenue is closed for good?
Yeah, I saw that today. Yeah, in the paper,
It
Facebook.
was on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Oh, yes.
They sold the property to a small gas station, convenience store or something. That's all I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of been been talked about for a little while now.
Yeah, they had the Common Farms wanting to go in there, but they backed out. Now this deal went through, and that was it. Very sad news for the city of Torrington.
You know, and it is because Scarpelli's was an institution in Torrington.
Yes.
For decades.
Yes.
And I know I've met so many people through Joe Scarpelli, and then eventually through Danny, and then the people that I knew personally who worked for Scarpelli's. It was a big family.
Yes, it was. It's very sad news.
Very sad news indeed.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate you bringing that to our attention here on the show. And we want to welcome you to please call in at any time.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to check out what's cooking with Michelle Cook. But hopefully, Weibo, you won't be upset. There'll be no fried chicken in this segment of what's cooking, bro. Yeah, man.
Hope some barbecue.
Yeah. So you can't win them all, brother.
I know it.
In the meantime, you guys stay tuned, and we're going to be right back with more City Views right here on your local access cable station, Altis 5.
Viking.
Red state, blue state, vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Optimist.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities,
Live.
our families,
United.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome to Fogel's.
Beautiful, isn't it?
You expect options everywhere else. Why not with your medical treatment? Talk with your doctor to explore all your options and find what's right for you. Visit ahrq.gov.
Thank you so much for viewing the show tonight. It is madness here in the studio. It's actually always madness
crazy
here in the studio. Yes. But tonight, for some reason, the madness is just
It's
maddening.
all good. It's all good. It's all good. You have to be here and see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And please, anyone, if you want to come down and hang out in the studio sometime,
Yeah.
not a problem. Just talk to Dan.
Yeah.
Because he's, he'll have to let you in the door.
Yeah, he's security.
Yeah, you got to know the password. So let's see what's cooking.
Yeah, it's cooking.
All right. Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening.
How
Hi,
are you?
Michelle.
I'm good. How are you?
Well, obviously, tonight is a very, let's just say, auspicious evening with the trial beginning.
Yes, that is true.
And I think that it's a very surreal time right now in our country to be able to witness this and to understand its impact.
That's true, and I would hope that as we move through what is the third time ever in our history impeachment trials, that we really look at it openly and not walk into everything with a biased view. And we realize that history is once again being written in not such a positive manner.
Well, it could.
I mean, and I'm not saying that we should not hold people accountable for what people believe are wrong or right. I'm just saying that it's just not something that our country should ever have to go through.
You're absolutely right, and I hope that this could be a learning experience, and we can use this as a way to almost redefine what our values are. What is it do we really value? And, you know, how is our Constitution, how is it evolving throughout our expanding republic? I think that these are important issues that we really need to discuss.
I agree with you, and I think that we need to realize what our founding fathers' expectations were, and recognize that the office of presidency commands and demands the utmost professionalism and respect on all accounts in all parties.
I agree.
And you know, whether you like or dislike any of the people that have led our country, we need to ensure that everybody is treated with respect and dignity and professionalism, and that there are laws and policies and procedures in place to ensure that our great country is never put in harm's way, and the folks that live in our great country are also never put in harm's way. And at the end of the day, if we do not have solid relations with both our enemies and our allies, we are not a great country anymore.
I have to agree with you, and I think that as we re-examine our history and look at it in terms of its totality and effect and impact on the world, I think it's very important that we understand not only the great things that we've done, but we need to re-examine those areas where we can really improve and where we've fallen short and where we need to work harder at forming a more perfect union.
Correct. You know, there's no other country out there that should be beating us to the finish line in any area. And I think I heard it best today when somebody was talking about something that another country was doing and saying, there's no reason why we can't be there first. We need to get out of our own way. And we need to recognize that just because you're a Democrat or a Republican or an unaffiliated person doesn't mean that we can't work together and get along. And it doesn't mean that regardless of the error in any ways, that we have got to see both sides for the betterment of our society and our future.
I think that those are the elements that are fundamental to the working of our democracy. I believe that that's kind of like what the forefathers kind of expected us to do. They, especially when it comes to this particular impeachment, because there is that issue of where there's always going to be a little tension between the branches, and sometimes it will be to test to see just exactly what the parameters of their power is. However, I think this particular issue kind of outlines the importance of why it's very important that the framers wanted the branches to work those issues out, to compromise, to find where their policies would encroach either for or against the guardrails of the Constitution.
Correct. I mean, it's a sad day when you have a leader walking into the impeachment hearings and says, "I am biased. I already know my view." Now, that doesn't solve our problems. You need to check your opinions at the door, and you need to hear all of the facts. That's why it's called a hearing. There is a process in place for this. And there is no reason why the leaders of our country, whether it be local, state, or federal, should not be upheld to the same exact standards or higher, quite frankly, that somebody in the private world should be. We take an oath to uphold the Constitution and to be a body for the people, by the people, and to check our opinions at the door, because our opinions are not necessarily what everybody else's opinions are. And if we cannot listen to the people that have put us there, I mean, this is not something trivial. This is a huge deal.
Yeah. Which is why I think you already understand why I'm spending some time addressing the issue with you, because you, even though you're a state representative, these issues have to be germane to your perspective on your work.
I mean, I have never walked into the office in Hartford and said, "I already know what I'm going to do." I expect the facts to the best of people's ability to present them to me and to weigh a decision that affects first my constituents, then my town, then my state. And quite frankly, it's to try to be the betterment of our future. If I went in there to vote on only my views, then I'm a self-representative. I'm not a state or local representative. And I think that we need to be a little bit less short-sighted and recognize that we are not inferior. But that's why you hear me say it all the time. Call my office. Call your local folks. Call your federal folks. Let them know how you feel. But don't make an opinion on, or a decision on something that you've heard. Know the facts, because the facts can often be totally different than what somebody wants you to believe.
I think it's important too to point out, Michelle, because this is something that it's kind of a sticky issue with me, because even in our friendship, which you understand, I have a great amount of respect for you. First of all, because you're a good person, but second of all, because I know that your heart is in the right place and how you apply it to your work. However, I think that we need to come to that understanding where when it comes to policy, you could have the same objective and come out with a different policy outcome. And people sometimes, I think, get too caught up in that process, and they demonize the person for policy instead of their intent on their work. Do you understand those lines of demarcation? And if you do, how do you apply that to your approach?
I mean, I do understand that. And, I think that's very valid in the current state discussions on tolls, for example. And by no means do I want to compare the impeachment hearings to a toll conversation. But there is some similarities in what people want to hear, what people want to believe, and then the facts. And the ability to take away, I just don't want it, or I don't want to hear it, to what's truly black and white in the facts. And for me, all that I can do is be as open and honest and transparent as possible to give out the facts as I have done the research to have found them and done, my homework to collect them in a way that is as black and white as possible. Because I believe that although there is gray area in almost everything, the gray area has so much room for interpretation that that's what causes us some problems. There's no argument in our world that can tell me that a tractor trailer doesn't do significant more damage to our roads and bridges than a car. That is just common sense. There is, but there will be people that have an opinion about that.
Right.
There will be people that have an opinion about how we should spend education dollars. There will be people that have an opinion on how we should help people in need. What restrictions those might look like. There's an opinion on everything, but at the end of the day, we have got to do everything in our power to get the unbiased facts, to make an honest decision. That's how we move forward to make Torrington, Connecticut, and our country better places to live in.
Exactly, I'm right with you. That public policy mix that has to, or it doesn't have to be, but it should be streamlined and disseminated in a way that people have a basic foundation of what components are in play in coming up with that public policy, because I think that's part of the problem too. You got so much bad information that's going out concerning these issues that people, it's very easy to get confused, and you can't really blame people sometimes for their positions, because and we're all privy to it. You may not be getting not only the full story, you may be getting the wrong story.
I mean, I think that it's a shame that, like, for example, my office, we try to do informational mailers every so often to keep people in the loop. Being as transparent and passing information as best we can. And it doesn't matter to me what party affiliation you are. If you're a registered voter in my district, I'm going to mail to you to try to keep you informed. That's my job. And when you get a response to somebody that says, take me off your mailing list because I'm a Republican.
Wow.
And you're a Democrat, I don't want your information, that really doesn't help us. Because I don't try to, nor have I ever, tried to say, this is the information only from a Democratic side. The information, and you have all seen my information, this is the information. These are the policies. It doesn't matter, right, left, middle, it doesn't matter. This is just information. And if we're so closed-minded that we don't even want the information, that doesn't better us. But it also doesn't better us because we're not involved or engaged. And whether that be from a city council meeting to a board of safety meeting to a board of education meeting, board of finance, planning and zoning, those are the local ones, all the way up to the state and the federal level. When we're in session, our doors are open. Anybody is allowed to be there. You know, be engaged. Reach out. Voice your opinion. Ask the questions. If we are not an engaged and educated society, we cannot make good, healthy, productive decisions. And at the same time, if you're not actively engaged and getting a rounded education, or you don't vote, do you have the right to complain and voice an argument about something that has happened that you don't like?
I think you make some valid points there, Michelle. And I've always been an advocate for increased voter participation in our democracy, because I don't think we're as a society are as civically engaged as we should be. And as Ben Franklin once stated, it's like it's a great democracy if we can keep it. And in order to keep it, you need participation in it. And the reason why I get kind of unnerved when people say, you know, their vote doesn't matter is because our whole governmental foundation is built on the individual. The individual having rights, the individual having power, the individual having choice, the individual not being oppressed by an overbearing government. So your vote is your power. And even though you might feel as an individual, your vote is not impactful, your individual vote is part of a block, whether you realize it or not. It's either part of a family block of voters, or a working block of voters, a disaffected block of voters. If you have so many people out there who are so disinterested in, or has what we see a lot of today, such mistrust in our government, well, if those people got together and voted, you would actually be able to address that issue.
You know, and I think that there's so much to be said about the fact that, you know, there is an argument to be had that that when you have the Electoral College, whether that is right or wrong, you know, and I know that there is a national movement for people to have the national popular vote, you know, which each individual vote would actually count as opposed to the Electoral College, et cetera, et cetera. You know, people need to weigh in on that. They need to understand what that means. But locally, every vote does matter.
Absolutely.
And federally, I mean, federally, we understand that there's some discrepancies between the popular vote, which we don't have yet, and the Electoral College, which is what our founding fathers believed in. You know, and there's some conversations to truly be had about that. But at the end of the day, people fought and died for your right to vote. And I just feel that as we are a part of this world that is incredible and crazy and amazing and dysfunctional,
like a family.
The opportunities that lie right in front of us are only here because men and women have put their lives on the line and fought for our freedoms and our rights. And we have a duty for their sacrifice to go cast your vote. And I just don't think that people recognize the significance, the importance, and the sacrifices that are made each and every day for that.
Amen. You're definitely preaching to the choir, Michelle, and I will continue to advocate for that strongly, because I do believe that's the missing part in our society, and that's why we see this huge imbalance between, quote unquote, the 1%ers and the rest of us. And I think it has developed a political environment where, unfortunately, you have some representatives that they go where the money is, and especially on the national level, it's more enticing because you're working with a wider swath of donations, potential donors, but
right, with no rules and restrictions,
or very few. Yes, definitely. And
for us, we have that, which I think is extremely valuable, and I wish that we could figure out a way to push that nationwide at every level.
Yeah.
We need to take big dollars,
right,
big corporate, multi-million-dollar donations out of government.
Absolutely.
And be accountable to the people, not be accountable to the dollar.
Right.
I think that's a grassroots movement that's heading up more steam. But the point that you made in regards to the Electoral College, and I do understand your perceived sentiments about how a lot of people are questioning that system. But the one thing that I would like to remind people with those sentiments is that the reason why I believe the forefathers had that is so you wouldn't have mob rule. If you have a situation where the majority rules all the time, then you don't have representatives of the individual. That's when individual rights get trampled on, because there are still people that are going to be impacted in the minority just because of the simple fact they're not in the majority. So I think the forefathers' thinking was, well, you know what? In order to have a constitutional republic, whereas we're ruled by the rule of law and not by men, that's how our constitutional republic comes into being. And the democratic aspect of that is the vote.
Correct.
And when we have full participation in that process, then you can glean election results. One of the biggest mistakes that I think that happened in this last election with the Electoral College is this administration didn't understand the fact that their election didn't have a mandate. And without that mandate, it's very difficult to come in with the rambunctious style that this administration had. You would have had to understand that there still is a majority that you have to work out if you have real policy issues that you want brought to the forefront. They have to be worked out.
Correct.
And I think that that's the aspect of government that turns people off. And the forefathers, I don't think that, although they understood how passionate you can be about your political positions, again, as we opened up this conversation with, I think that their intent was to work it out.
In a respectful manner.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I'm not going to say that there hasn't been, I'm not saying that there hasn't been corruption and deceit and all of those things. I mean, that is everywhere. It's a shame to say that, but that is everywhere. And that has been happening since probably the day we started walking the earth. But I think that history is written so we learn from it and better ourselves.
Right.
not repeat the bad stuff.
Right.
And we can't close our eyes to the bad stuff.
Right.
We can't remove it. We can't hide it. We can't wash it away. That is our history. It has made us who we are. And if we can't figure out a way to better ourselves from our history, instead of trying to hide it, ignore it, and wash it away, we're just going to continue to repeat it.
Yeah, and what is...
You know, I mean, we're doing some things that, you know, are questionable in people's eyes. You know, we want to tear down a statute because it offends somebody, which I understand. That I understand the offense, but it was our history.
Right.
It's how we got here.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I mean, there's a huge debate now about whether or not we restrict certain mascots from our school system. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's our history. That's how we've gotten here. How do we have a respectful discussion and hear all sides? And let people speak. Listen to the kids. How do they feel? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the generation that's in school now that's going to be taking care of all of us.
Amen.
And, you know, I have great hope in our future, for the visions that this generation has. I think we need to give them a little bit more credit and respect and voice. Because quite frankly, you know, we don't have all the answers. And sometimes a different vision and a different eye and a younger look or a fresher look, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
And if, you know, we have to be willing to hear all. It just, you know, like as we started this conversation, we're in a very critical point in what will be our history.
Right. I agree.
And we have got to be open and honest about it.
Yeah.
And not be afraid to have a respectful, and I stress respectful, and honest dialogue.
Well, Michelle, you hit it out the park tonight, my dear. Thank you so much for your contributions to the show. We so appreciate it. And maybe next week we can get back on topic and talk a little bit about the upcoming session.
So, two things on that, sweetheart. I am unable to call in next week, but I am going to request that my colleague does that, so I will let you know back. I will be not able to call.
Okay.
And two, I'm not sure how you started the show tonight, but I do want to give just a second to the great loss that our community has had, and the Friendly Hands Food Bank family and friends with the passing of Mo.
Oh, you know, we kicked that out.
Oh yeah.
I know, and I know I wasn't on earlier, but you know, that's somebody that saw a problem and just took it in and decided to do something about it.
Right.
And I think that as all of the conversation that we have had about getting involved and doing things in an advocating, open and honest manner, you know, Mo found a need for her community, and she figured out a way to help it.
Yep.
And
yes,
if we can honor her in a way of giving back, that would be what she would want. And
Absolutely.
so I just wanted to give a public shout out to her family and her friends with my deepest condolences. Torrington's lost a big heart.
You know what?
They did.
You know what? Right on, Michelle.
Thanks, guys. You have a good night.
You too,
love you,
Michelle.
girl. We'll
Thank
see
you,
ya.
Michelle.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good evening, Ray. Good evening, Ray.
Good evening. How are you?
We're very well tonight, but yo, it's cold outside, man.
Yeah, I know. We just got back from the town meeting.
Oh.
They had a town meeting tonight?
Yeah, Tuesday night, 5 o'clock. It started for a special meeting, and I just got home.
Oh, okay.
But I just got home, and I see what's cooking on there, and she must have took the whole program. Here it is, 24 after. It's time to talk.
You're amazing, Ray. You're amazing.
Let me tell you, hey, she's just like the rest of them damn Democrats. They're all mad because Hillary didn't get in. Trump got in. Now they're worried about Trump getting in again, and they're going to impeach him again.
Well, Ray,
hey, I tell you,
I have to.
Same. All them Democrats are the same.
I got to ask you one question, though, Ray. Okay.
Go ahead.
Now we're friends, right?
Yeah.
So, you think it's okay for the president to ask a foreign country to get involved in our elections?
Read the scripture. What do you got? Don't listen to Shifty Shift.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Shifty Shift is the one that he didn't read what was on the transcript. He put it in his own words. Trump didn't do anything.
Well, that's why they're having the trial, so we can get all of the evidence.
Yeah, but they're just wasting our tax money just like the Democrats like to do. They like to spend money, and this is exactly what they're doing.
So you don't feel that the investigation is warranted?
No, because what's going to happen, in the end, he's going to get acquitted anyway.
So you don't want to hear the evidence that the Democrats have?
No, listen, I got one thing to say. Shifty Shift down in his basement, he had all the right things to do it right. Now he comes to the Senate and he thinks the Senate's going to do his dirty work for him. He had all the time. He had the time. He could have had these people called in to come in there and testify. No, they didn't want to. No, they didn't have enough time. He had to get it done before Christmas. Then she hang on to the papers for almost 3 weeks. That's a big push for the Democrats. Oh, it's got to be done right away. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? They're going to keep on going. They just don't like Trump. That's the bottom line. They do not like Trump. Same as what's cooking. They don't like Cook. They don't like the Trump.
So you don't think the president's done anything wrong?
No, not at all. No.
And you don't want to hear any evidence that would vindicate him?
No, listen, I just got done telling you. They had the time. They had the turn. But they didn't want to do it the right way. They could have got all these people in that they want now to come in. They could have done that before when it was in the House's hands. But they didn't do it. Well,
Ray, unfortunately, we're coming close to the close of the show. But you know what?
Yeah, I know, because your friend there, What's Cooking, took all the time. I'm a taxpayer too. I'm a registered voter too.
Well, unfortunately, we had to keep her on because one of our guests didn't show up tonight. However,
and then I got out of the meeting late tonight at the council meeting. We just got home. It got over late, so otherwise I would have called in earlier.
Okay, let's continue this conversation next week. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Let's go.
We got to go, but I'll talk to you next week, Ray. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Ray.
Okay, bye.
All right. And that concludes another episode of City Views. Wow. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, tell all your friends and neighbors to catch it coming at you live right here on your local cable access, Altice Channel 5. Good night.
Good night.
City Views. Got love for your city? City Views.